Horror and military type shooters are so underrated. I love the idea of playing as a spec ops soldier fighting against supernatural entities like SCP. The whole SCP wiki itself is an amazing case study into this topic. Even fan-made films like SCP Dollhouse and SCP Overlord are just incredible. Highly trained professionals fighting these anomalous entities, and let's face it, bullets can't always take them down. I just love it. Human technology and ingenuity versus the unknown supernatural beings. It's an amazing way to tell us a story that uses horror. This is where the phantom pain comes in. Kojima uses the supernatural heavily in this game alongside pseudoscience. Though his ideas aren't plausible, it's still a unique take on horror. The first encounter with the supernatural is in the first episode, the hospital escape. We see a boy with a gas mask and straitjacket. He floats up, then an elevator quickly comes to our floor and explodes. A man on fire marches slowly to us, but luckily the sprinkler turns on and he disappears into the smoke. So who was that boy? In the opening credits to a mission, it reveals the names of different characters, factions and vehicles. The boy is called the Third Boy, who's actually Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid 1. His powers are slightly different to that in Metal Gear Solid. He doesn't act on his own accord. In the mission Extraordinary, we need to retrieve a film canister from our informant. Doing it means we get a 3-part cassette tape which tells us about the man on fire, and more importantly the Third Boy. We find out that he and his powers act as a conduit for others. Of course this relates with the theme of revenge. We can actually see him being influenced and controlled by other people in the game. With Venom Snake we can see the Third Boy having a piece of shrapnel in his head. With Skullface, the boy wears Skullface's Lone Ranger mask over his gas mask. When Vulcan's in control, the ends of his sleeves are on fire. And lastly with Eli or Liquid Snake, the Third Boy wears a tied red bandana on his shoulder. The idea behind the Third Boy is so cool and unique. Yes, he has the psychic powers, but what makes it unique is he can't really control it. He is controlled through others. As I said, he's a conduit for revenge of some of the characters throughout the game. I think that's what makes him so dangerous, is that he's basically being used by others. He attracts himself to the people with the quote-unquote most revenge within them. In the Devil's House we try and rescue Shibani, but we find Skullface there too. Using his revenge and anger through the Third Boy, Skullface commands him and the Man on Fire to kill Snake. But just before we die and get burnt, Shibani dies in the fire. But just before he dies, through the boy, the Man on Fire stops trying to kill us. The boy floats to Shibani, presumably being under Shibani's influence. The boy wears a copy of Shibani's necklace, indicating the boy was briefly under Shibani's control. This is such a unique thing in the game. The boy gets tossed around between the different characters. Like in Mission 31, we take down Sir Lanthropus and our allies Miller, Diamond Dog, Huey and Eli, who snuck on board, join us. Because Eli's rage and revenge towards Snake is a lot bigger than Skullface's or the Man on Fire's, the boy attracts himself to Eli, again using the boy as a conduit for his revenge. Eli takes control of the Metal Gear and the Man on Fire, first by making the Man on Fire kill himself, then taking control of Sir Lanthropus to kill Skullface, then us. Using people with psychic abilities as a conduit for others is such a unique and different take on people with psychic powers. Having the boy being tossed around between the other main characters make him even more unpredictable. If Eli never snuck on board the chopper, the Metal Gear and the Man on Fire would have stayed under Skullface's control. As I said at the start of the video, we meet the Man on Fire. We later find out after Mission 31 when we retrieve his body is actually Vulcan. From what I remember, he wasn't fully dead and he still has his hatred for Snake boiling inside of him. In the first seconds of the opening, while the logos are being shown, the audio uses a Panic's pilot. He shouts Mayday down the radio, and when the quote from Romanian philosopher Emil Sharon pops up, the plane crashes and burns. The haunting breathing of the Third Boy echoes. From the informant's report, Ocelot states that the crash happened north of us as soon as we woke up, the fire being from the crash or from the Man on Fire. Of course, this thrusts us into the events of the Phantom Pain. The Man on Fire is such a cool entity. I'm guessing the fire could be a physical manifestation of Vulcan's burning hatred and revenge for Snake, but he's such a cool and underutilized character. He acts on his own accord through the events of the hospital escape. He never runs after us, only walks slowly, taking his time to kill us. His outfit's also quite cool. Only the few scenes we see him at the start, Vulcan wears his giant green coat. Then when he uses his powers, it burns off, revealing the red rubber suit underneath. The charred black skin and the bullets and shrapnel on his body just make him that more scary. Our pistols do nothing to him. Even the RPG from the Mgsv soldier and the rockets from the Mgsv chopper do nothing to him. Nothing could stop him. Except for a water gun, and yes, I'm serious, in the Devil's House mission, once Shibani dies, we're forced into a fight with the Man on Fire, and yes, the water gun does actually work. There's not much to him and he's really underutilized throughout the game. The only time I guess you could say he expresses himself is in the hospital escape. He rides a flying fire horse and then through Mantis uses a giant burning blue whale to swallow an Mgsv chopper, but other than that he's stuck to the sidelines. It would have been cool if he wasn't under Skullface's control and he acted on his own accord. He could have ambushed us during a random mission or stalk us. Something that would fit his character. A burning entity stalking us adds to the supernatural element in this game. The Skull unit is one of the coolest factions in Metal Gear in my opinion. Their design and their abilities are fucking scary. These grey beings quickly darting in the mist using their metallic arcane abilities to stop us and kill us is such a Kojima thing to do. Again, like the Man on Fire, they're so underutilized. Out of the 31 missions in Chapter 1, they only appear in Mission 1, Mission 6, Mission 16, Mission 28 and 29. Their abilities are from a parasite called the One That Covers, the 3 different types being mist, armor and camo for each respective skull type. This was also the same parasite they gave to end his powers in Snake Eater. Kotor could tell Snake that Skullface may be alive due to his children. The parasite therapy allowed him to live despite his face being heavily burnt in the Second World War. Another character at the parasite therapy was Quiet. In the hospital escape she's sent by Skullface to kill us. Luckily the real big boss Ishmael stops Quiet by burning her alive. So how's she fine by the time we see her in Afghanistan? Well, the parasites have the ability to repair organs and lost tissues like with Skullface. When Quiet had the parasite therapy she gained the ability of the skulls, being able to move fast and having an excellent shot. To keep her alive the parasites must be kept sustained. This is done through photosynthesis. This is why Quiet is heavily exposed for the whole game. Ocelot tells us she breathes and shrinks through her skin, meaning the parasites are basically keeping her alive and having clothing suffocates her. Another thing with the skulls and their parasitic children is metallic archaea. Archaea is a real-life type of single-celled organism, some of the oldest on Earth. In the Metal Gear universe, metallic archaea is a type of archaea created by Kotor, these type being very unique that they can metabolize and manipulate metal. The skulls use this ability when we encounter them. They have the ability to turn anything metal like helicopters and tanks into rust. The last thing I want to talk about is the vocal cord parasite. Parasites in media are quite boring to say the least. They attach to the host, either feeding off them or killing them. What makes the vocal cord parasite so different to other types in media is that they focus on language. The theme of the Phantom Pain being revenge and language, and Skullface has some weird obsession with this. But the idea of the vocal cord parasites were theorized by Kotor in the 1930s. Using the remains of the end, Kotor extracts the parasites and then Skullface forces Kotor to weaponize it. Back in the Devil's House just before we find Shabani, we find people on beds with their throats slit open, earphones connected to cassette tapes and they're shoved in the opening. It is obviously Skullface weaponizing different breeds of the vocal cord parasite. What makes them stand out from other types of parasites in media is they work by infecting people based on the language they speak. The different strains are basically the different parasites that focus on different languages, an example being Quiet, who doesn't speak throughout the game. We find out that she has an English strain of the vocal cord parasites within her, and if she speaks a lick of English, the parasites activate and they copulate and go into the lungs where giant cysts are formed. I'm guessing this is where the vocal cord parasite keep their offspring. Kojima's ideas to the supernatural, not very plausible scientific ideas are some of the best and most unique takes I've seen. The use of vocal cord parasites is very interesting too. Because they target and activate due to certain languages we speak, Skullface creates what I like to call a culture war. Our identities and cultures are ingrained with the language we speak. The idea of Skullface using a parasite to rid the world of infestation is such a unique take on genocide. Rather than doing a Hitler and killing off undesired races, Skullface uses the parasite to rid the world of language and free the world. In a way he is preserving minority cultures and languages. With the English language spreading across the globe, it carries its cultures and its idioms and ideals. From Skullface's perspective, the English language is like an infection. It kills off the original culture and language of that person and makes them speak English. So why English? Because it's the most popular. Skullface uses the term sans lingua franca, a bridging language between two cultures. English is the language used between two groups of people. Like a French and Chinese person, they speak different languages so they can't communicate. But using the bridging language like English, they're able to communicate. And killing off the bridging language like English means in Skullface's eyes the world is free from the English infestation. And as Skullface said, words can kill.
To unite America and the entire world. The Major thought this was his friend's will. But I think he never understood what she wanted. Before he ever walked or cried, even before he was born, his mother tongue was English. He doesn't know the pain of losing his own language. Not yet. He cannot understand her will. I do. I was born in a small village. I was still a child when we were raided by soldiers. Foreign soldiers. Torn from my elders, I was made to speak their language. With each new post, my masters changed, along with the words they made me speak. Words are peculiar. With each change, I changed too. My thoughts, personality, how I saw right and wrong. War changed me. And not only my visage. Words can kill. I was invaded by words, burrowing and breeding inside me. A philosopher once said, "It is no nation we inhabit, but a language." Make no mistake. Our native tongue is our true fatherland. My fatherland. My truth was stolen from me. And so was my past. All that's left is the future. And mine is revenge. on those who leech off the words of their fellow man. This is what I learned from the Major. And then it hit me. It was he who should feel my wrath. He and the code he chose as basis for control. Language codes, information codes, beamed all around us, genetic codes spanning history. By controlling the codes, Cypher Zero intends to unify the world. Codes implanted into our heads, sucking our minds dry as it spreads from one host to the next. A parasite upon this earth, that is what Zero is. As one born into this world he's afflicted, I hold him responsible for killing my freedom. Killing all traces of my past. Killing any promise of a future. We are all but dead men forced to walk upon this earth. A world reduced to zero. Cypher plans to use its codes to control the world. They think they can. And the mother tongue of all those codes is ink. The word became flesh. The final parasite. It knows English. An English strain of the vocal parasite. I will exterminate the English language. With this, I'll rid the world of infestation. All men will breathe free again, reclaim their past, present, and future. This is no ethnic cleanser. It is a liberator. To free the world from zero. Let the world be. Sans lingua franca, the world will be torn asunder. And then it shall be free. People will suffer, of course. A phantom pain. The world will need a new common tongue. A language of nukes. My metal ears shall be the thread by which all countries are bound together. In equality. No words will be needed. Every man will be forced to recognize his neighbor. People will swallow their pain. They will link lost hands. The world will become one. This war is peace.